Welcome to datascience.show, the podcast where data science meets executive leadership. We talk with top AI and analytics thought leaders about turning data into real business impact. If you're a C-level leader or data expert shaping the future, you're in the right place.
I'm your host, Mirko Peters. We explore how data science and AI drive real business impact, straight from the leaders making it happen. Today, retire, replace, reuse, an executive playbook for model decommissioning and ML technical debt. Why does model end-of-life matter? Because unmanaged model portfolios quietly erode ROI, multiply risk, and steal engineering capacity from innovation. In the next 22 minutes, I'll give you a structured decision framework, concrete triggers you can operationalize, and 2 actions you can start this week. Here's the hook. Every model you deploy begins costing you more than its single prediction. There's the cost to serve, maintenance, feature pipelines, explainability obligations, incident prep, and regulatory evidence. Over time, the business relevance can decay faster than anyone notices. That gap between perceived value and actual cost is where technical debt lives. Fix it, and you unlock NGVs, reduce risk, and reallocate budget to new models that actually move the needle. Before we dive into the playbook, a quick composite perspective. Across dozens of enterprises I've worked with, the same path repeats. Companies build experimental models, one team owns it for a while, then dependencies spread. Product features, batch jobs, monitoring alerts, third-party vendors. Ownership blurs when the original team moves on. The model becomes business as usual until performance slips, a compliance review demands paperwork, or an unexpected outage exposes brittle dependencies. If I summarize a common executive journey, initial sprint to production, then growing complexity, deferred cleanup, and finally surprise incidents that drag in legal, ops, and product. The organizational handoff often fails because there's no lifecycle contract. That's where retirement planning belongs, at the point of productization, not as an afterthought. Okay, core discussion. Let's make this practical. First, decommission triggers. These are objective signal thresholds that convert intuition into decisions. Use a handful of triggers you can measure. Sustained performance decay beyond a business impact threshold, rising cost to serve compared to incremental value, repeated incidents or escalations, regulatory exposure that requires extensive remediation, and loss of data inputs or legal right to use training features. Examples: an AUC that has dropped 8 to 10% relative to production baseline for 30 days, or cost to serve that has increased 3x due to expensive feature engineering, or a model whose inputs are subject to new privacy constraints. Each organization will pick the exact numbers, but the key is codify them and automate the check. Second, evaluation criteria. Create a short checklist that combines technical metrics with business impact, performance, cost, reliability, explainability/audit readiness, and strategic relevance. For each model, capture current owner, consumers, downstream dependencies, versioned artifacts, training data snapshot, and a simple ROI estimate, both operational and opportunity cost. That dossier is your single source of truth for any retirement decision. A decision matrix works well. If performance is failed and business impact high, replace urgently. If performance is marginal and cost to serve is low, refactor or retrain. If performance is low, cost high, and downstream usage limited, plan retirement. Those 3 buckets, retire, replace, reuse, are not ideological choices. They're outcomes driven by data. Let's walk the retire versus replace versus refactor decision flow. Retire, when a model's marginal value is negative or negligible and dependencies are few. Replace, when the business problem remains crucial, but the current model architecture, data, or approach is fundamentally broken. Reuse, refactor, when the core signal remains strong, but engineering debt, poor feature pipelines, brittle infra, is driving costs or incidents. Each path has a different operational checklist. Operational steps for safe retirement are straightforward and non-negotiable. Step 1. Dependency scan.
Inventory every product, batch job, dashboard, or SLA that consumes this model. Step 2. Archival and audit snapshot. Export model binaries, training metadata, feature lineage, and explainability reports. Step 3. Deprecation plan with timelines, rollback steps, and owners. Step 4. Staged shutdown using feature flags and canaries. Step 5. Post-shutdown verification and final archive with retention policy. Do not skip archival. Regulators and auditors will ask for provenance months later.
The number of organizations that delete and forget is alarming. Archival is cheap. The cost of not being able to explain decisions in an audit is not. Keep a snapshot, version everything, and log the decision checkpoint with sign-offs. It saves hair from being pulled out later. Now, some concrete metrics and thresholds executives can use when they ask engineering: weekly maintenance hours, number of incidents per quarter attributable to the model, cost per inference compared to value per inference, and the mean time to restore when the model fails. Translate these into dollars and headcount. Leaders understand and act on those economics. Real-world mapping, a fraud detection model that drifts slowly but still prevents millions in loss. Replace or retrain because value persists. A personalization recommendation whose click-throughs have flattened and requires expensive real-time features. Retire or degrade gracefully and free the real-time infra. A compliance scoring model with old data sources that no longer map to current regulations. Archive and retire with extra audit artifacts. Each choice must map to a measurable business outcome. Leadership and impact. How do you operationalize this at the executive level? Start by codifying ownership and incentives. Every model gets a named accountable owner and a product owner who signs off on continued spend. Make retirement planning part of quarterly roadmap reviews. Fund a small technical debt and retirement pool in the data budget. Treat it like depreciation on capital expenditure.
Governance also needs lightweight gates, a formal decision checkpoint with engineering, product, compliance, and finance prevents sunk cost bias. Use the objective triggers we described so decisions are defensible, and require a 2-week deprecation notice to downstream teams with a clear fallback plan.
Communication matters. Boards and execs should hear about portfolio health in consistent terms: percent of models beyond useful life, estimated annual technical debt cost, and reclaimed capacity from retirements. Those are the metrics that make retirement a board-level conversation instead of an engineering whisper campaign.
Looking ahead, embedding end-of-life thinking changes portfolio health within 12-24 months. Expect fewer surprise incidents, a measurable drop in maintenance hours, quicker model iteration cycles, and a healthier pipeline for innovation. Teams that practice retirement also become better at model design. They default to modularity, versioning, and clearer ownership from day one.
2 actionable steps you can start this week. 1. Perform a rapid model inventory. Add 5 fields: owner, consumers, cost to serve, last retrain date, and regulatory exposure. Use that to rank the top 10 models by technical debt. 2. Pick 2 models and run a 90-day deprecation pilot, 1 candidate for retirement and 1 for refactor. Document the playbook steps, measure reclaimed hours, and present outcomes at your next roadmap review.
Final reflection. Decisions around retirement are less about being ruthless and more about being deliberate. When you treat models like products with a bounded lifecycle, you reduce risk and free capability. You'll also train your teams to build with eventual retirement in mind, which keeps systems simpler and more auditable. That's the difference between models and value. If you found this episode valuable, subscribe and share it with your network. And let's connect on LinkedIn. I'm Mirko Peters. We'll be back with more conversations on how data science and AI create real business impact. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to datascience.show. If you found value in this episode, subscribe, share it with your network, and join us next time as we explore how data science drives smarter decisions and better business outcomes.